People say like, wow, you've been together for 17 years. Aren't you guys tired of each other? Look at us now with our 2 daughters. Throughout the years, we've just become stronger.
Like I said, we're the counter narrative of what's going on nowadays. We want to highlight how important it is to not only find the right one, but to make things right with the one. Marriage and building a family is work. It is. That's why it's worth it. It's work that will actually pay off in the end. A lot has changed since the last time you were on the Broken Instruments podcast.
And just to be clear, I didn't ask to be your next episode. You told me to.
No. Okay. So what it is we plan to have these recording talks for the girls.
Yeah.
And it's 7 weeks after Liliana was born. Mm-hmm. Liliana was born in July. And I think we've been planning to do this recording. And for me, I think it's important for us to record not only talks for them, but things that they're going to be watching later on in the future when they're older, when they're our age, or whatever that's going to be, you know? And more than that, I just think a lot has changed in the past year or so. I don't even know the last time. I want to say it's almost a year when we recorded...
Since I was last on?
The Queen's Gambit episode.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was the end of last year. Mm-hmm. And so much has changed because that was before we were even pregnant again. I mean, before we were even expecting.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's basically a recording for us. And I think us as a family, I think it resonates with a lot of people of our journey. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but I mean... things that I've heard and you've connected with people and it's one of those things where it's overwhelming to see how the podcast has already affected people.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like, oh, it's so important and like the world needs this. I think it's interesting to know and it's inspiring to know that some people someone has gotten some sort of message from one of the episodes or a clip of one of the episodes.
Yeah.
Just a small part of one. And when you would tell me stuff like that, and it really does kind of bring me back to why I wanted to even start podcasting, why we even started these conversations. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you for coming back on the podcast. And to me, it feels so new again.
It does. Get all nervous.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. I think we've had a lot of conversations this past few months or this past year. And I think a lot of people resonate with how we think and what we've been seeing. Mm-hmm. First off, it's been 17 years to the day.
Today?
Yeah, 17 years we've been together. You've been my lady for 17 years. Obviously, it hasn't been straight. You know, we don't have the perfect relationship, but we always dreamed about having that type of relationship, I think.
Yeah.
This type of relationship is rare in this modern day. We've been together for 17 years, married for 4. Mm-hmm. And 17 years later, we have 2 daughters.
That's 2 girls.
So back in 2005, September of 2005, we took a chance on each other. Seems like just yesterday sometimes, but then when you think of 17 years and the amount of time that we've grown together, there's nothing other than how beautiful it is to me. I mean, I think it's a beautiful story regardless, and our relationship has not been perfect. Neither of us are perfect, but I think especially with the times now, we want to highlight how important it is to not only find the right one, but to make things right with the one that you devote to, the one that you commit to. So 17 years later, my question to you would be, why? Why did you want to be with this young guy while we were that young? Why did you say yes?
Well, I mean, for the people that know, we started really young. So when you say taking a chance on you, it was more just, obviously I was scared because you were my first boyfriend.
Yeah.
And you're my only.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Only boyfriend since then.
Pretty much only. Damn.
No, you are, obviously.
Okay.
But yeah, it was, I don't know, I was so young back then, and thinking about being in a relationship wasn't really my focus.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there was just, the connection that we had when we were young, like way back then, it was different. And I mean, we pretty much grew up knowing each other from, our church group. So it wasn't, I mean, we didn't really talk as much, but we weren't that close. But when we got to know each other off of MySpace, when we first started, yeah, I don't know, it was just different. And of course I was scared to even have a boyfriend because I was still young and my mom was so strict.
Yeah.
So I was scared of, getting in trouble. God pretty much has a plan for us. So at the time I didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah.
Or if I even wanted to be in a relationship that young.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at us now. Like, we didn't know what was going to happen back then, but 17 years later, here we are with a life together with our 2 daughters. And I mean, it wasn't easy. I mean, along the way, 17 years is a long time. So, so much has happened. I feel like throughout the years, we just become stronger. And, people say like, wow, you've been together for 17 years. Like, how could you be with somebody for that, like that young and for that long? Like, aren't you guys tired of each other? But I mean, like I said before, since we started really slow, we were just talking on the phone for like months, even like a few years. We never really got to hang out, like just us 2 in person. So I just feel like our relationship started really slow. So everything just felt so new and like exciting, like every time something happened, especially like when we were already able to go out when I was already 18. So I just feel like it's a different and special bond that we have, and definitely unique relationship.
Yeah, people think it's weird how we started and how long we've been together.
Yeah.
We are the counter narrative to the way the world looks at relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always been like that from the beginning, where you don't know what can happen. You don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And we've said this for the last 17 years, like small moments throughout, that things just work out when you trust God and when you feel out where you're at.
Yeah.
And you're aware of the people around you. And I can't deny it that things just work out right. When you make things right, and I'm not saying we made the perfect decisions all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying we were perfect. We've made mistakes as a couple, as individuals, growing with our families, growing up.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm still amazed by is when you take opportunities and you say yes to things, and you just listen to your intuition and be open to God's plan. Mm-hmm. Beautiful things happen. And when you commit and you devote yourself to the life of another person, look what can come out of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're the counter narrative of what's going on nowadays. People have a lack of commitment and devotion. Mm-hmm. And I'm not knocking people who haven't made it this far in their relationships, or so many people nowadays are not making it.
Yeah.
And it's not a knock to them. But what I do reflect on when I hear something that happens, especially people close to us, it makes me reflect on what works. And I have no real explanation other than that when you find the right one, you have to make things work.
Yeah. Because
we're not perfect. Mm-hmm. We're our own individual people. We have our own attitudes and our own flaws.
Yeah.
But it's a constant process that we do to make things work, right? And I think that's what's important for people nowadays. Because when we started, and I attribute this to my parents. I remember talking to my dad about you when I was like, we were like, I was thinking about, like, I saw, I started thinking about us.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my dad, like, I was talking to my dad, and one thing that he said that like just made me realize what the steps I needed to take if I was serious. He said, you have to go about it the right way. You have to court her. This world doesn't have courtship anymore. I don't think courting anybody is important anymore, which I feel like people would say that, oh, that's traditional thinking, and that's, like that's old school, old fashioned. Things were right back then too.
Yeah.
And I think new ideas aren't the only right thing anymore. Or they're not the only right things now. Things that did work. And I think when you change the perspective of like courting versus just dating, courting is more, it's more than just like, all right, let's just hang out and then get to know each other and then whatever. Courting, it's already starting from an element of commitment.
Yeah.
That, I made it a point to take my time to talk to all your uncles.
Yeah.
Everybody in the household that you lived at, your mom. And I think back to that, and I want to say that that's actually super important for any young man out there right now who is interested in a woman, or interested in starting a relationship with somebody. That alone, I think, set the tone for who we were going to be.
Yeah.
And our family now. And our family is now that we have one big family all together. I think everybody goes back to the time where I was talking to people about us and how I laid out my intention. When you lay out your intention, and it's honestly for whatever goodness you want to bring to your life, to the lives of others, I don't think anybody can knock you for that. I don't think anybody would get mad or even deny that. And if it didn't work out, I was completely open to failing. I was completely open to us not working out. You hear it all the time, like, oh, well, you guys are young and you don't know or whatever. I heard it all the time. I even heard it from my grandma. Yeah. Like, oh, no, you guys are too young and stuff. Like, all right, that's cool. But we just wanted to get to know each other. And I genuinely enjoyed talking to you. You take it day by day and moment by moment, occasion to the next occasion, and you start building memories together. Yeah. Memories that will change your life. And like sitting here now thinking about everything we've been through for the last 17 years, I know that this was God's plan from the beginning. I can never deny that. And I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate. I tell my friends and my family all the time, in poker, like I feel like I flopped the royal flush, or at least I had a draw for the royal flush, and you have to play it right every time, no matter whatever hand you're dealt. When it came to relationships and courtship and us, I got one of the best hands possible. I'm not gonna lie, but it took everything to not fuck it up, and like you said, look at us now. I think we've matured so much. Yeah, we're forced to. But if there's one thing that I want people to know, is I think that family, I believe that family is everything. Yeah. It's so cliche, like when we grew up, like, oh, family over everything, all this shit. And then, I don't know, until you have your own child, you really don't know what life's about. What was your evolution? I mean, we had podcasts, obviously, when Mela was already, like, born. Yeah. We have 2 now. And Liliana is 7 weeks now. Yeah. I see you here, full mom mode, full time mom, and it's not easy. And I could see where people or other women would be like, nah, I'm not ready to have kids. I don't want to have kids. What do you say? What do you say to that? Now that you're in it, full-fledged, 2 kids, a toddler, and a newborn.
Honestly, it wasn't anything like I ever expected it to be, honestly. I mean, you think having 1 kid, you think that you're so prepared, you know everything. And like having a second one, like I'm so ready for this and that. But it's totally different. And when you hear moms and, other families say like, having 2 kids, like it's a lot. It's going to be hard. And, like people say those things and you get scared, or you just be like, oh no, like I got it. But when you actually go through it, like reality hits. And with Mela, just her personality alone, she's a lot. And the fact that she's going through her terrible twos, and
terrible twos are real. Yeah.
Like she's super sassy, super insistent, and just super like stubborn, So having her, a 2-year-old and a newborn, 2 different like phases of life, it's hard to really balance, honestly, because me as a mom, I'm breastfeeding Lily, and so I'm so focused on her. And like Amela, she tries to look for attention, and I'm just glad that she's not jealous. Like she's really affectionate to her. She's really helpful, like majority of the time. But most of my time is really spent with Lily. And with Mela, she's been, getting more attached to you, which is good. So she feels, that she's not like left to the side. But yeah, just trying to adjust to having 2 kids, a toddler and a newborn. My patience gets tested, and I'm sure with both of us.
Yeah, all the time.
And it's honestly exhausting because you have an active toddler who wants to play, who wants to, just explore, and just so active during the day. And I'm waking up every like 2 to 3 hours to feed Lily throughout the night. And by the time like morning hits, when we're all awake, like I'm just super exhausted, and I have no energy most of the days to even want to play with Mela. And I feel bad because I feel like she's playing by herself. But when she calls us, she's like, mommy, daddy, like look, or dance, draw and stuff. And it's like, okay. But I think that's the hardest part right now, is just trying to give attention to both. Yeah. But when you're physically tired and have no energy, it's hard. And I think that's the one struggle right now. But yeah.
No, it's funny because when we were expecting Lily, just the whole process was like, when you don't, when you can't tell people, like when you can't tell people that you are yet, because we're still waiting for like the first trimester and stuff. And then at that point, Mela was already like over a year and a half. Yeah. I started feeling it then. I was like, oh shoot, this is different because, you can't carry Mela now or whatever it is. And no one else knows. We're just trying to keep it secret, whatever. I started feeling it then, but I remember when we finally told people, it felt like a breath of fresh air. And then when we were getting near the actual like delivery, when we were expecting her already, I remember our conversation was, I feel like we know what to expect because we've had Mela already. And it's like, oh, like we've been here before kind of thing. Yeah. And then there was a moment where it switched on us. And it was like, hold up. We've never been in this territory before. Yeah. Because when we were pregnant with Mela, COVID hit. And then all of a sudden I'm working from home. you were off work already, so we're just home every day. All right, like literally waiting for labor to start.
Yeah.
Then she was born, and then we were just home.
Yeah.
For like how long? I was working from home, and it was like, all right, every day, like if I work is watching this, like I would do like pre-conference with my students, then send them off to do their assignment. I would come upstairs and pick up Mela, and it'd be like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And have moments of like, oh, I have to go meet with my students or something. And then I look back and I'm like, wow, we were spoiled back then.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're having two, we've never been here before. We've never had a toddler and raised a newborn. That was one thing we agreed on. We're like, all right, I think we had a really good conversation. And side note, that's one of the most healthy things I think that works for us is to actually have difficult conversations and bring up things like just to check on each other.
Yeah.
You know, we think about things on our own and stuff, but when you bring up something, it's like, hey, like I was thinking about this today, whatever. And I remember bringing that up. It was like, I'm trying to psych myself up to be like, all right, we're ready. Like we're prepared for this. We've been here before. Because that's how I psych myself up. And then like reality hit. And I felt like whatever it was, intuition, God, he was telling me, dude, you've never been here before.
Yeah.
Don't get too confident. Don't get too cocky. Don't be overconfident. This is new territory. Regardless of what you think you know about birth or whatever, it's a new person, a new kid is being brought to the world. And you don't know what can happen. And it's I want to be super sensitive and respectful. What helps me understand and it grounds me to reality is like how blessed we are is that people that we know are dealing with things I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And they're dealing with the unimaginable in a sense of logically it can't be easy. When you pass logic and you embrace whatever everybody believes is past this world, soul, spirit, emotional stability, anything metaphysical, people are going through things that I would never ever wish upon anybody, and I would never be able to imagine or even fathom how much pain it could be.
Yeah.
It made me reflect on how grateful I should be and how blessed we are and how fortunate we are to have these opportunities, to have healthy children. And I'm reminded of that every time like it gets hard.
Exactly.
Man, like when they're both like when they're both screaming and crying or whatever, like one cries and it knocks over the other and they start crying and then it's just like chaos. Or when they don't stop or they're insistent, it's just like you get frustrated, anybody would. But it's always like I'd rather have this.
Exactly. And going along with that too, I mean, Lily alone, she is different from Ella. Like when she was a newborn, I feel like Lily is more, she cries more, she's fussier.
She is, yeah.
She needs more like attention, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I want to say like 95% of the time from when she was born till now, like putting her down to sleep is hard. Like she always like is fussy for at least an hour. And so I get so frustrated, you know, I'm like rocking her, cradling her for like an hour or so, trying to get her to fall asleep and stop. And I get so frustrated and I'm exhausted, like, you know, just go to sleep already. But then I'm reminded too that I'm blessed that I can actually, you know, be in that position to where I'm able to put my baby to sleep. Ooh.
Yeah.
Sorry. And oh gosh, sorry. And like with what you're saying is, I can't imagine like what other people are going through. And as a mom, like like as a mom, I can't imagine what other moms are going through or what they have to go through. And sometimes I forget that I'm blessed enough to be in a position to have a family.
Yeah.
And to have these two daughters that are so far so healthy and here with us. And it just makes me emotional too, thinking about what other people have to go through. And here I am, like, frustrated and just wishing that, okay, like, this moment could just be over. And just, just want it to be easy, but it's never easy. And I think that's a part of parenthood and motherhood, is it's a learning process. And I feel like it's natural, for us to be frustrated, to like question, like, is this my life now? And or remind myself that it's not going to be like this forever, and to just cherish like every moment, regardless if it's good, bad, hard.
I mean, choose your struggle, right? To be grateful for the struggles that we do have. It's a reality check.
It is.
And if anybody that, like, if who I'm referring to is listening to this, I mean, we pray for you. We pray for peace. Because it can't be. There's no way. And if you ask me, I think the only way that we could go through things that you're going through is holding on to a higher power. He's helped us through our journey, and he will likely help us through whatever is coming for us. But we think about you, and we pray for you. It hits home when you have children.
Completely.
And not to say like no one can have empathy if you don't have kids. Life is totally different. And I know, like, I've said this before, when like your life changes, and it's so cliche, like your life changes when you have kids. No, fuck, it really changes.
It does.
It changes everything about you. It changes how you look at the world. It changes what you want to do in life. And arguably, it is the bigger cross. But those are the ones that are more worth it, I feel like. We were talking about like the life now. And I think you take it differently than I'm taking it. And whatever people call that, like gender roles or whatever. We can't deny that we look at things differently. And I can't be more grateful that I have this opportunity now to be a father, for one, but also it's a new space to see how much I can do. When I used to think of dad energy or whatever they used to call it, like parent energy, like mom energy, it's a different level. It's a totally different gear. That I feel like I have now. I feel like I have a seventh gear, and if there's anything that sparks me and lights me up even more now, it's really to provide like the life that we want, the life that I want us to have as a family, and for our girls to have, not just to spoil them, but not just to pay for like fun experiences. It's more than that. The next gear that I have is like being willing to take risks for them. That's something that I've definitely been exploring more. Like, am I willing to take risks more for me? Because back then, for me, like, I was like, why do I need to take risks? Like, I don't really care. I'm content. Now, it's almost like, it's not that I want to do things. It's more, I should, or I have to. It's a must. And to me, if there's anything I would take a risk for, It's to give them the life that they deserve, and that we would hope for them based on our family lineage and our values and our principles in life. And again, to reflect on the opportunity that we have to raise new people in this world. I don't know what's in store for us, obviously. And no path is going to be perfect. It's never going to be. And who knows, maybe like the worst is yet to come for me, for us. But like I said, even like just resonating from, just matching up from our relationship alone, we live in the moment, and we expect the best things to happen for us. I have to believe that the best things are happening, but also be fully aware and anticipate that the worst can happen. And what do we do? And to prepare for all avenues now. Nothing is promised. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where a lot of people are afraid to start families. They're afraid to commit because they're afraid to be disappointed. They're afraid that if they give their heart to someone, if they expose their heart and open up to somebody, that the other person, the other people will return that gesture with a stab with a knife.
Yeah.
And there's a lack of just trust in people now. But if a genuine relationship shall start, it should be from a place of uncertainty, an expectation of good things to happen, with full awareness and anticipation that things can go south. Yeah. And if it does, you gained up to this point, and what you've gained up to that point, it's part of your story. It's part of you shaping who you are. You're becoming somebody, mm-hmm. rather than a status or a title like, oh, I'm a husband, I'm a father. Me, the person, who have I become? Without that label, without status, without whatever roles we were given, who have I become? Yeah. And I think that's been a big reflection now. And if our girls are listening to this, if our children are listening to this in the future, and we're old, clearly your mom and dad don't have it all together. We don't. Mm-mm. It's a day by day thing. It's a process. Ups and downs, waves of flying high, and then waves of just sinking deep. Yeah. But I think the devotion and the commitment to something greater than us, it keeps us faithful, I think. Faithful in a sense of, we believe that only good can come out at the end. Mm-hmm. Even the worst things can happen to people, but it's worth the risk. If you know what positive outcomes can happen, it's worth it. It's worth the risk. And I know if people are going through something like extremely painful, all I know is once they find their peace, they will be stronger than ever. Yeah. And I'm praying for that sooner than later. Mm-hmm. Again, I just can't imagine, and I'm grateful that we have this opportunity, this type of struggle, this type of difficulty. Yeah. This time around is totally different than when we had Mela, our first mm-hmm. one, and I do feel like I'm stretched very thin now because I'm working a lot, and but I keep reminding myself this is what it takes. Life is never easy. It was never easy. It's never easy even for a single bachelor right now. Yeah. There's always a mountain to climb. And to me, I think the fear of starting a family is it's something that's going to debilitate a lot of people. But if they only knew how much it gives you, mm-hmm. and not like, oh, because I get mine or whatever. It's more of like, damn, it gives you more to fight for. Yeah. And more to celebrate in the good times. Mm-hmm. More to hang on to in the bad times. I think I just posted something today. Was it today? Yeah, I posted it today. I'm gonna be forgotten eventually. No one is gonna be thinking about me every day. When I'm gone. And I know you're gonna say like, oh, I probably will, because I'm gonna go first probably. Or our girls will. No, at the end of the day, there are days probably when they won't. It's learning to accept that helps me understand, like, okay, that's the reality. We're dust and we're just gonna fall away.
Yeah.
But who I was and the life I lived, and it resonating through the energy and the life around the people around me within situations and memories, that's what's going to live forever.
Yeah.
They're not going to remember me. They're going to remember what I brought, what I did, how I impacted people. Not like change the world, but I believe every moment is a divine meeting.
Yeah.
With you and someone else. It's divine. I think it's going to last forever. And so many of us, myself included, we get caught up in the self-centeredness, egotistical, get mine, it's me. At the end of the day, that will never amount to anything, if you ask me. If like in the future, like these young men that are listening to this right now, I have fully realized that we're taught to not look forward to family growing up, or we've heard the narrative over and over. I guess I don't know if it's just our generation, but accomplish everything you want and then have kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that anymore. I think we should be open to any path.
Yeah.
Because even right now, I have so much more to accomplish. And I will. Mm-hmm. Not only for me now.
Yeah.
Like, you literally add on top of me my loved ones, our daughters. Dude, I realized how selfish I was back then, thinking I wanted to accomplish my dreams, my goals, because I want this, I want that. Dude, it's not about you. And I don't know if I'm just speaking to men, right? I'm just,
No, I mean, along with that too, I remember when we went to Disneyland the first time we took Lily, she was like 2.5 or 3 weeks old. Mm-hmm. And then we were walking, I think it was to It's a Small World. And then I saw a family like walking next to us.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember asking, because they had 2 kids too. And then I believe that the dad was pushing the stroller, and you could see like the little baby was like pretty much like Lily's age. So when you were walking next to them, I asked, I think I told you this, right?
I think so.
I asked the mom, I was like, oh, like how old is the baby? And she was just like, oh, like 3 weeks old. And I was like, oh, it's like the same as like my daughter. And she was like, oh, like how old is she? I was like, oh yeah, she's about to be 3 weeks also. And then she's just like, yeah, like, you can't let them stop you.
Yeah.
And it makes you think too. And it's true that even if you have kids, you can't let them stop you from living the life that you want.
Yeah.
It'll change. It'll be different, but it's not impossible to still continue to go for your dreams, to continue to build a life that you want. But
it's harder, but I think it makes it more worth it.
Yeah.
Because not only will you benefit, but now you have people dependent on you that will benefit even more.
Yeah. And I feel like too that if you have a family, it makes you feel more accomplished, because even with how hard it is, you still did it,
Exactly. It's such a bigger feat.
Yeah.
Rather than just to do it for yourself with little risk, the only risk is yourself. Mm-hmm. Now, for me, the idea of like us failing can never happen. Mm-hmm. Like when I shoot for dreams, and I had dreams back then of like, oh, whatever, it was finishing more credentials, whatever. Like I can fail that and be like, oh, well, whatever, I tried. Now, if I have dreams, it's not like, all right, I can always quit if I wanted to. Like, there is no quit now.
Yeah.
That's not even an option anymore. Because these people need you to show up.
Yeah.
With everything about you, with everything that you have to offer. And that's the one thing I love about learning, being a father. I realize that kids are so objective. When they don't know, they don't have feelings about, like, they don't have opinions on you. Mm-hmm. You either show up or you don't. You either feed them or you don't. And they know.
Yeah.
They're hungry. You either care for them or you don't. And that's where that's what a lot of people need. Mm-hmm. Someone who's not just opinionated about you, like, oh, I have a bad dad. Dude, Mel is 2 years old. Daddy plays with her or he doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
And when I see it and I'm busy and I'm working and she wants to dance and she wants to play and I get frustrated, seeing her face and whatever she was feeling, maybe she doesn't understand it. It was like disappointment or frustration. She's insistent and we don't say something back to her.
Yeah.
We don't answer her right away. Kids are completely relentless and objective. That's reality.
Yeah.
When someone says, like, oh, like, get yours and do what you feel is right. Well, do what you want to do every moment. There's a trade-off. Because if you do what you want every moment, some people wouldn't take care of their kids.
Yeah.
Period. These kids are the ultimate objective judgment on you. Mm-hmm. You either care or you don't. They're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. These kids are relentless. They don't understand. Yeah. They're going to say, oh, dad's busy working. No. It's, dad, you're not going to play with me?
Yeah.
And to me, that's more helpful to the type of person I am. It's like, oh my God, like, that is all I needed to see for me to realize, why don't I stop working for today?
Yeah.
And it's the ultimate being awareness of that. Like, being aware of that ultimately is what I think is the biggest gain as a father, is to have somebody objectively judge me by my actions.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. Cause like, I could believe, like, oh, I'm working for my family. Like, I'm knocking things out, things I can take care of tomorrow. I'm being productive today. And then all it takes for her to be like, I want to watch something and I don't understand. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to understand her. We're not meeting eye to eye. And then she's getting frustrated. And I'm like, oh, you know what, dude? Maybe I'm doing too much right now. And that's something I'm grateful for. I think a lot of us, dads especially, when we're on our path and we're thinking, whatever, productivity, hard work, building, we need that. We need that little kid to humble you, to humble us. That little kid's gonna humble you to the point of, like, yeah, I don't care if you're building something, Dad. I really don't care. Like, all I want is just to be carried.
Yeah.
And it's so simple, but yet, like, we think people that inspire us to do something, or someone that's whatever, higher than us, more accomplished than us, has authority over us, has authority in the space. No one humbled me like my own children have.
Yeah. No
one's humbled me to that point. And that's such a beautiful thing that I wish I could package and like explain to somebody. Mm-hmm. That moment being humbled by your daughter is more valuable than being told by my boss, like, hey, good job.
Exactly.
Or like, hey, I appreciate when you did this. Knowing when to put down the sword. And I use this analogy with our friends all the time. It's like, dude, I'm like in the garage deadlifting like crazy. And then within the next 30 minutes after I shower, I'm carrying Liliana. Mm-hmm. And to have that balance, the dynamic of every moment you have to be all in, whatever you're doing. And I explain this to you, I train for fucking murder sometimes.
Yeah.
With you and our girls, I'm like, and I don't have to like, whatever, explain like how I train or whatever. But one of the posts I made is really from the heart, and I said, we have to have hands that are capable. We have to have hands that are capable of violence and virtue. And violence for the sake of violence, or violence without a sense of virtue, is inexcusable. But when it comes to family, when it comes to my girls, when it comes to us, I'm all in. Mm-hmm. I'm all in. And I think that's the level that I'm talking about, that I'm willing to completely die for somebody. I think not just because I became a father, not just because I became a husband, but when you live for people more than yourself, when you live for others, you have to be the strongest, most capable person ever, and be willing to give it up.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people resonated with that when I put that message out there. You have to give it all. Give it your all. And then give it all up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the story of life, which is why I believe our faith is necessary. I think people need to have faith in a higher power, a guiding light, a moral compass, whatever the hell people call it. If you have no moral compass, how can you lead? You know, a lot of people that are that live chaotic lives, that are not thinking about the next generation. They live degenerative lives. Mm-hmm. They believe that they're good leaders. I'm not saying we are, but all I know is I have my offspring, my lineage, have our lineage in mind. Everything I do now. If I thought I was methodical before, if I thought I was calculated before, even more now, I have to think even more moves ahead of what I want to do, what I think should happen, and everything. And to me, there's nothing more powerful than parents that live with purpose, that have not only an end goal, but for their life and their lineage to live forever with good value and principle. There's nothing more powerful than that, if you ask me. And I think we're the testament to that. Our lives testify to the idea that the family can be great again.
Yeah.
That family can be a goal for people. You know, we've heard it said family's not for everybody and stuff. I don't know if I agree with that anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I ever really agreed with that, but I think the amount of risk and what you learn from it, the desire to teach, the desire to grow, it all resides in the family home.
Yeah.
If you ask me. You know, it's hard to talk about, you know, relationships and starting and like dating nowadays because, you know, the world is totally different. And I would argue that we grew up in a good community that has good perspective on whatever it is, tradition and what we talked about, courtship. I consider you a virtuous woman, and what would be some advice, I guess, to the girls, our daughters, or young women nowadays?
Well, you know me, I'm not the type to want to give advice, but just learning, like being a mother now, it takes a lot of patience and, just knowing your purpose as a woman in a family, especially. I think we talked about this before too in like the other episode, but you know, as like a father and as a man of the family and as a woman and as a mother in a family, it's two completely different roles. And I think becoming a mother just really taught me the value of being present in a home, like what we talked about before. And it's a lot because especially like women nowadays, yeah, like they don't want to have kids. They just want to sleep around with other men. They don't want anything serious.
Yeah.
And I mean, like what we talked about, the dating world is tough right now, I'm sure. But I think just knowing your self-worth and being prideful of just being committed to one person is so much more like valuable to a man who wants to start a family. And I remember you saying too before, it's like you as a man wouldn't want a woman who's like been around with like other men and just like, you know how like women now like on Instagram just putting themselves out there and, you know, just really being conservative in a way to where you know that the respect that you would want to give to the man that you're committed to. And yeah, I mean, just,
you know, and that goes both ways. I know there's like arguments like the, oh, it's not the same for men and women. No, like I think what we're explaining is the commitment, the devotion to one, giving up whatever primal biological desires that you might have for other people, whatever it is. To devote to something, to devote to one person, to commit to one person, to honor something, and to respect each other as another is so much more valuable than what people think like is valuable, like body counts and all that shit. Like honestly, it's the truth. I don't think anybody at the end of their life, like, you know, whatever it is, at their deathbed is like, oh man, like I had so many people, like I have a high body count. No one cares.
And exactly. And having 2 daughters now, you know, of course I want to set an example of how not just how I want them to be, but just to hopefully be a good example to help them grow into their own person, but to also show them like how to be virtuous. And it's like you as a mother and having 2 daughters, I don't want to see them like being how like some women are nowadays, you know, even like little kids. Like I don't want them to, I mean, we can't protect them 100% from everything in the world, but like what we talk about, we want to be able to teach them to make decisions that, you know, will affect their life positively. And doesn't mean like good or bad. I mean, who are we to judge that? But to make decisions that they'll be happy with and won't have to suffer consequences later on.
Exactly. Or to live with regret.
Exactly.
You know, it's not about like high body counts, honestly. The way I saw it, and like, you know, I've heard different people speak about this, and it's like it is a counter narrative, but at the end of the day, when we all realize this, hopefully it's not too late. But I do value the relationship that we have, what we've built up to now, and to realize this in order to teach our daughters that. Like you said, we don't like, we can't be with them at every moment. But I have to believe and I have to trust that they're going to make the decisions based on our family values and principles. But like you said, you as an example, it's possible and it's beautiful. And I'm grateful that we found each other. I'm grateful that we have each other, that we have one another, and we've had the relationship that we've built up to now. I mean, like really, to be at the end of your life at the bedside, you know, body counts don't matter, but how many bodies showed up for you at your deathbed?
Exactly.
That's what I think about. You know, those whatever it was that people do, like one night stands, and you know, you slept with how many people? Those people aren't going to be at your bedside when you're dying. And I reflect on this all the time now. Like, who's going to show up? For one, for damn sure my career, my credentials aren't going to show up at the bedside when I'm dying.
Yeah.
Who would I want around me? You know, like when we think of relationships, we think of family, we think of close friends and loved ones, people that have shown up for you. You know, even right now, like it's gotten so, like the circle has gotten so much smaller. The circle got tighter.
Mm-hmm.
But I always reflect, how many genuine relationships do I have with people? And it's not about the number.
It's not. But
it's about the quality of relationships that I have and what I feel like I offer the people that I love. And yeah, I like to curate who I have around me.
Mm-hmm.
I like to curate my life experience. Certain things I don't want to be around anymore. There's certain things that I want to chase. I want to be around. I want to soak in the energy of it. Ultimately, I want people that are around me. I want them to feel like I genuinely love life.
Yeah.
That I love what I do. That I love being around them.
Mm-hmm.
Being whatever it was, like being disappointed, being let down by heroes of mine when I was growing up, of people that I thought were there for me. It made me realize how tight I want my circle. I want people around me that not only are like me, but value life the way I do.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I have real people around me that I know are down for us because we're down for them.
Yeah.
And we genuinely all care about our future together as a people, as a community.
Yeah.
Those relationships I value because at the end of the day, you know, our family here, like we raise our daughters. It not only takes a village to raise our children. You know, these are our children. It's our responsibility.
Yeah.
But the people that we're surrounded with, the community around our family, does affect us. And we want our children to grow up with a healthy mindset, a healthy perspective, because the world is so messed up nowadays that one wrong thing can change a whole life.
Yeah.
One wrong idea planted, a bad seed planted in a garden can kill the whole garden.
Yeah.
You know, it's teaching our daughters what to not let grow, to cultivate our soil to be repellent of evil, ill intent. And again, these are all struggles. Having our children so young now, like they're still so young, but you know, how do we protect them as much as we can from this ugly world, this evil world?
Yeah.
And I can only hope that, you know, people our age right now who are having kids, I can only hope we resonate with the same message, that we resonate with the same heart of what type of life do we want our children to have?
Yeah.
You know, given the situation of the world nowadays, like, you know, whatever generations are growing up right now, it's scary. And they're going to be the generation that Amela and Lily's generation are looking up to.
Mm-hmm.
How do we take some ounce of control over that? And I really believe it starts in the home.
It does.
And if God is at the center of the home, you have a moral compass that's guiding us. And we have a mission in this life. Only then can I feel some sort of peace in knowing that maybe it's going to work out well. We're up against the whole world of, you know, whatever it is, evil. We hear horrible stories of what's going on in our world nowadays.
Yeah.
Maybe an ounce of peace and faith in goodness and you know, whatever we're hoping for, giving our daughters. I pray that it's enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm completely, again, expecting the best things to happen, but being willing to accept and anticipate bad things happening.
Yeah.
And this is us, like, now, and we're talking like the, you know, when our daughters are this young, and it is going to get tougher. I know, like people have teenagers nowadays and it's different. I know, like, I mean, our parents are, they have us like grown adults and they're grandparents now.
Yeah.
Life is different, like empty nesting and stuff. It's a whole different ball game. Living in the moment and knowing that in every phase of life, in every moment, we just got to listen to our intuition, be open to the path, be open to all paths.
Yeah.
And it's never led us astray. It's never let us down. Everything that we've been through up to now. I want to encourage people not to just get into a relationship, but if you have the one, make it work.
Yeah.
Marriage and building a family is work. It is. But that's the only thing that's worth it. That's why it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's work that will actually pay off in the end. Because you're building and cultivating a body of people around you that not only have your back, but care about every bone in your body, that will protect you. Like to have kids that not only, I'm not even thinking like, oh, they're going to take care of us when we're old. It's not even about that.
Yeah.
It's that they're going to be great people to be around, and they're going to affect and inspire others. And it starts a new generation, a whole ripple effect, a domino effect of good things. And that's what I hope for. And that's why I stand for family, because look at us. I think we're a testament to families work.
Yeah.
Families can work if you make it work. And I'm not ashamed. I'm like, there's nothing I'm ashamed of with my family. We're blessed. And if there's anything to be proud of in this world, if there's anything to brag about in this world, brag about the difficulty of having a family.
Yeah.
Brag about the damn struggle it is. Because some people don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
And some people will avoid it like the plague, not knowing how much they could grow.
Yeah.
How much they can actually create. Like, you want to create? You want to be, you're creative? You want to create life? Create life.
Yeah.
And notice how that young life is going to check your ass. When you think you know everything, that young life is going to teach you something.
Completely. It's
going to humble you. I mean, to me, that's the most beautiful thing, I think, about having a family. I thought I was humble before. I was like, no, I don't like to show off whatever I like. Dude, you know what I like to show off now? Fucking being humbled.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I know. It's just crazy how much kids can teach you, and like having a family.
Yeah. They're relentless.
Yeah.
And like, they're not opinionated, but their opinions, they cut deep.
Yeah.
And you feel it. Which is why I just, all I hope is that I can show up. I can keep showing up for us.
Same.
When I think of parenthood and I think of, what parents go through, I want to change people's minds about that. Like, oh yeah, it's too hard. It's hard. I don't know if you want that. I don't know if I want that. Well, it's not about what we want.
Yeah.
It's what's going to challenge you to create a better life for not you, but for others. Because I think at the end of everybody's life, even if they have kids or not, they want to give.
They do.
What more if you have people that are dependent on you to give? Now, and it's weird because I think we're considered young to have children. I don't know. Like, I don't know if the new generation or whatever. I think we're considered young having kids now. But even then, it's like, I feel like time is on my ass. Like, I feel like I'm getting old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, should we have had kids sooner? Obviously, it didn't work out that way. But man, I think about it. Like, our parents had us very young compared to where we're at right now. But I think that, we're right on time in our story. But more than anything, it is true. You want to be established. You want to be at least a sense of readiness.
Yeah.
Financially, environmentally, whatever it is, psychosocially, like you're ready to have a child.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want a child to live in an environment that's not prepared for them.
Yeah, of course.
But at the end of the day, you're never ready to have a child.
Not completely.
Yeah. Like we talk about this with other families, and it's like other parents, and they're just like, dude, if everybody waited till they're ready to have a kid, no one would have kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to take that leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Not of like, oh, let's see what happens, but more of like a leap of faith is certain that a higher power is overseeing our struggle.
Yeah.
And when you take that leap of faith with real faith, not only is it going to be like a lesson and a journey of like learning,
Mm-hmm.
but you do elevate to a level that you never knew was possible for yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever comes out of this, whatever comes out of like, you know, us having children and our perspectives nowadays, like now having a family, I hope for the best. Obviously, I really want to work hard for us. I really want to find something,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, whatever. Like we have ideas of what we're. I don't want to talk about that. Whatever is in our future,
Yeah.
I just know that we're gonna meet it, and the best version of us at that moment is gonna meet it every time.
Mm-hmm.
And like whatever, like people listen to this, they watch this or whatever. It's not about us just like bragging and like, oh, I want to talk about us. Let's talk about ourselves. Dude, like, regardless, I don't care if like the only thing you get from this is like, all right, like these people are egotistical, whatever. Listen to the message about family.
Yeah.
I really think that family can be a solution to a lot of people's struggles and how to deal with people. Not saying kids are going to solve your problems for you. Kids will expose your flaws as a human.
Oh, yeah.
It's at the ready. Like they're going to pull it out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Any weaknesses that I had, our daughters expose it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's uncomfortable for me. And I'm like, wow, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a flawed man. But it gives me the opportunity to see all the cards out on the table. All right, what do I need to do to work on myself? And these kids are not here to fix me, but they're here to show me how broken I am so that I can fix myself.
So true.
Because you want to be better for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't be more grateful that I have a loving wife and a supportive wife for whatever shit I got to do. You know, we had a really good conversation, and I was able to express a lot of what was going on in my head of like, we cannot be the same person.
Yeah.
We have to have some sort of not only check and balance, but we have to have some sort of balance. The yin and yang of both of us has to fit perfectly for what can and should happen for our family. You know, if we were both like it's totally different because you're at the ready for Lily. Are they awake? Oh, you're at the ready for Lily to feed her every 2-3 hours. And if I was waiting with you every 2 to 3 hours and just be like, all right, what do you need? All right, cool. And I'm just sitting there.
Yeah.
I am no longer performing as a father.
Mm-hmm.
And that is dangerous because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
I have to get uncomfortable. I got to figure out something I can do to be productive and to produce for us and to create for us alongside while we're all moving together. Mm-hmm. You know, if we all... if we were the same person, we cannot make it farther.
Yeah.
We will not progress. The roles that we talk about is not like, oh, like, you know, this is a man, this is a woman, this is masculine, this is feminine. No, it's more of you got to figure out how to get shit done as a family. Mm-hmm. But if we were the same person and we looked at things the same exact way, it will not work.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it can work, but it won't be the best version of us as a family. Mm-hmm. And it's super important. I really want that to resonate. I want that message to be out, is that, you know, you have to find a partner in life that will pull you and they fill in the gaps of your flaws. Like whatever you're missing, you fit together like a glove.
Yeah.
And you actually fill in each other's gaps because these kids need a foundation to stand on. if we were the same person, these girls are going to look for different guidance. Like, oh, my mom and dad are like, they're missing something.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we both agree. Like, we have really different perspectives on certain things, but in a way, we understand each other.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I accept that. The way you look at things, the way you do things, compared to the way I look at things and the way I do things. And it works. It's a balance of it.
Yeah.
And you respect me and what I got to do. I respect you and what you got to do. I honor what you got to do. And it's not in a sense of like, I think what we talked about this, and a lot of people, they get thrown off by words like a woman should submit to her husband, like a wife should submit to her husband. Yeah. And when people say submission and submit, it's like, oh, like whatever, like bowing down or whatever. No, I'm not telling you to bow down to me.
Yeah.
But when it says in the Bible to submit or to whatever, it's following the mission that I've created for our family.
Yeah.
I believe men are mission focused. I have to think way far ahead in the future and how I want to get us there. While you're nurturing our children,
yeah,
I have to be pulling the wagon. I have to be pulling this chariot. I have to be pulling us up the hill.
Yeah.
While you are focused on nurturing and feeding them life, giving them life. But like I said, if I stopped and we were the same thing and you're feeding Lily, I'm just going to sit with you while you're feeding Lily.
Yeah.
We ain't going anywhere. When I see us as a family and you know, like, you let me lead, and I'm so grateful for that. The mission that I have for our family, the mission that we are going to accomplish, it takes a lot. But I think the beauty of it is I have your support.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your thought about that? Like, what's your the submitting to your husband or whatever?
I mean, going back a little bit to what you were saying, I mean, like, as cliche as it sounds, you know, when people say like opposites attract. Yeah. And yeah, people say that a lot. But when you're with somebody who is opposite from you, but also share same values and stuff, you know, you still have like similarities, it works. And, you know, when you're saying it works, it's because we both understand like our own like mission, or like understand what we have to do, and we understand each other. Yeah. And so I feel like when we talked about like the whole submission, I mean, you know me, I'm not like, for people who know me, I can be like outspoken or, you know, really say how I feel, or I won't do things if I don't want to. And so I feel like my opinion when I submit to you is where I understand, like what you're saying, is like where I understand what your mission is for our family. So I'm going to follow like your lead. And like what we talked about before is when, you know, like I let you take the lead in this, and then you let me take the lead in this situation. Like, we both balance. When it comes to like what the children need, I am fucking clueless. Yeah. And you lead that. I see a lot of videos too, like on Instagram and stuff, like when women would talk about like, oh, you should submit to your husband. And then like when I read comments, it's like, you know, how like, oh, empowering women, and, you know, like, you shouldn't submit to your husband, you know, you should have like your own, like stand your ground and stuff. And I feel like I have a different meaning. We both have a different meaning to that. And I respect you and what you have to do for yourself, for our family. And I know you do that for me too. Yeah. And yeah, some people just get it wrong, but I want to make it clear is when I submit to you is what we're saying is that I let you lead when I know when it's right for our family. Yeah. Because, I mean, we both tell each other, like, if we don't agree on something, or if I didn't like how you did this, or, you know, or we shouldn't do that because there's a better way or something, you know? Yeah. But I just feel like we both understand each other well enough to know that whatever we decide to do, it's not because it's my decision. I'm in control. It's more like, this is what's right for our family. This is right for the situation, for the bigger picture of everything, not just wanting to be in control because you're the man.
Exactly.
Like, I let you be the man in like situations where I feel like you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, just simply like protecting, like what we talked about before.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're not going to let me like protect you if like somebody comes, like somebody comes into our house.
No.
Like, you know, I'm going to let you're going to be the one.
I am meeting the opposition in the front. Yeah. 100%.
Like, and I know you as a person.
And I will come back alive.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I know you as a person would never put us in that position to where we would have to like protect you in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
see, well, and talking about that, like just safety alone, it is my responsibility to keep you safe.
Yeah.
So, like, if we're out and about, us and the girls, and it's like, if I tell you, get in the car right now, it's not because I want to direct you around.
Exactly.
It's not because I want to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, because if you don't, I will die having to protect you, and it will be a little bit harder. So if I tell you, get in the car right now, lock the door. Or if we have a confrontation or something, and I tell you, like, move over there, it's not because of my egotistical, like, I'm a man, like, when I'm going to show my masculinity. No, it's because, like, dude, you know what? It's my responsibility to protect you from evil perpetrators, whatever it is. And it's the responsibility of a man. I'm sorry. Like, if people don't agree with that, then sorry. That's cool. That's good for you. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to rely on my wife or my daughters to protect me. In that sense, when it comes to violence or war or protection or safety, we are not equals.
Yeah.
We have different roles in how to survive and how to keep each other alive, right? And men are valuable. I mean, that's one of the first lines of value, I think, is that if you're able to protect somebody. We say this all the time, like, you know, women are just born and valuable already. You're valuable already for everything you can do already. Men are not valuable when they're born. That's the truth. When men are growing up, we have to fight tooth and nail. It's dog eat dog to become a man of value and high value. Women are innately valuable already. You know, and I see that with our daughters. You know, everyone's like, oh my God, give them everything. Like, yeah, I do feel that. And maybe that's why we were given daughters, or maybe that's why I was given daughters. If I don't know, if I had a son, like, like it might be like too early. I'd be like, dude, no, man, you better fucking be someone of value now.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, God will give you what you need. He'll give you a girl. He'll give you a boy based on what you need to learn.
Yeah.
And these girls have taught me everything up to now. It's a whole different game. Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Obviously, like, I can imagine having a boy. Some of our friends have boys, and like their perspectives are different. And, you know, they're going to be on the podcast and stuff eventually. It's going to be funny to compare those like notes, right? But women are innately valuable for who you are already. It's hard. And I'm speaking to a lot of men out there who probably realize this too. To be a high value man, you have to be able to protect. You have to be able to provide. And in that case, it is your responsibility to die. Men are sent to war. If something drastic were to happen, it will be me to fight, right? Now, if that's the case, worst case scenario, I am responsible for you, and I will die to protect you and the girls. That respect alone, knowing you know that, you do help me. You serve me when I need help on something.
Yeah.
Not because like, oh, you're my servant. No, it's because, you know, at the end of the day, I am responsible for you, and I will protect you. I will take care of you. So in that sense, it's not like, all right, like, yeah, men should do like this and women should do the dishes. Like, no, like that's all bullshit that people get all riled up about. It's not about that. It's like, what's the best way that we could tackle the day-to-day things here in our home? You know, like, let's be practical. Let's not be subjective and be like, oh, like, but like, I feel weird about that. I feel subjective. It's all subjective opinions at that point. Personal feelings, like, oh, you offended me when you said I can't do that or whatever, or you want to take out the trash and I did. And it's like, no, it's not about that. It's like, let's be real. Let's be practical. You know, like, I'm not going to make you carry all these heavy things up the stairs. Oh, because you're a woman. I don't want to offend you if I want to carry all the heavy stuff. And it's like, it's equality. So, bring that up. No, it's like, let me do it. Yeah. What's the problem?
And I do, like, appreciate and respect, like, with how you help with the girls too. Like, you do the dishes, you help give them a bath, especially Mela, change your diapers. And I know some families and some, men, they're like, oh, that's all the women's job. I hear stories like, oh, like the dad hasn't even touched like a diaper ever since they were born. And you see, and that's like, I feel like you do help me and you do stuff that supposedly women are supposed to do, and I feel like that's why it works for us, is because we understand like our roles, but at the same time, we still help each other because it's family. It's for our family. Yeah.
We're a family. And
it's not like we have like strict roles to where like I only do this and you only do that.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, like, if you are thinking like, all right, oh, only the mom is going to change the diapers. Yeah. There's going to be some shitty diapers for a long time because you're so busy juggling the two kids. If I don't help out my family. Yeah. Like, do you really care about your kids at that point? Or is it, because like, I don't want to do a woman's job. Yeah. Well, get over yourself, because now your kids need you to change their diaper. Like, there's literally shit in there. like I don't know how else to think about it. Like, if I don't cook dinner for us, sometimes it won't get done, and I want us to eat. Yeah. So screw like, oh, that's a man's job, that's a woman's job. Like, dude, screw that. Get over yourself. What needs to be done? Yeah. And what's the best way that we can get it done? And I'll admit, it's hard sometimes for me to try to change a diaper, to rock Lily when she's crying and screaming. And I think I told you this, like, there's this weird feeling that I have. I think it's innate. I think it's instinctual. Yeah. When, I don't know if it's like for men in general, I don't know, men can comment if you feel this too, but when a baby cries or someone cries, like a woman cries or a baby is like crying, there's a weird, like, aggressive feeling. Not like aggressive to the kid, but like, I guess it's the program to protect. Yeah. Like, I want to protect, like, someone's getting hurt, I want to protect. And it's like, I can't. And it's like a weird trigger, like, that's like, oh man, it feels very like, I don't know what it is. Yeah. Anxiety, I don't know. Yeah. But like, I don't know if it's programmed. Like, I hear a baby crying, it's like, I'm programmed to like protect them. Are they okay? Like, they're getting hurt. Yeah. I need to protect them from something. And it's crazy to think that, like, there's biological things that we're programmed to do and feel. And certain things trigger certain things. Like, like when a baby cries, like, you produce milk. Like, you literally produce milk. Yeah. Like, it's so different. Yeah. When a baby cries, I'm like freaking ready to freaking protect them and survival mode at that point. But again, it's embracing that. Let's not try to change everything. Like, what works? Yeah. Screw like what we were taught roles are, whatever. No. What works? What's practical? What needs to get done? And what's the best way that we can get it done? And it's a constant thing every day. Yeah. It's not an assignment. We have one mission. We have one assignment as a family. And we're going to get it done. I think that's why we can make a lot of things work. Yeah. And we will make a lot of things work. I mean, this podcast episode is in my heart. I really want it to be about family. Yeah. And like I said, man, there's so many things for us to be grateful for. I'm more grateful for the difficult things that a family brings. Yeah. Because it is shaping us. It's shaping who we are as a husband and wife, as a mother and father. our family, like the Carreon family, you know, we're here to serve the world in our little way. Whatever that way is, I pray that we can find it.
Yeah.
And I know that we will, if we just stay in tune at every moment, every day, living in that moment, listening to our intuition. What does God have for us today? What must be done?